Hello. In today's video, we're going to cover how to set up the biometric attendance machine, this being the DP100 fingerprint attendance machine. So this is a standalone device that uses a flash drive to retrieve records. All you need to do is plug this device into power and register your users and set it up. That's the way to go. Now, I have mentioned a couple of several times that this is a very simple and straightforward machine. So today, I'm going to demonstrate how to set it up. This machine basically has three important aspects to set up. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the first step in setting up this machine. One very important thing you need to know is that this machine uses user IDs to assign fingerprints to its users. Meaning, therefore, as you are registering your users, it is recommended as best practice that you have a plain piece of paper and the machine on the other hand. The reason for this is you want a user to register their name on the piece of paper as number one, and then you go to the machine and users, say add users, you scan their finger. When you do that, it simply means user ID number one correlates with number one that has written the name on the paper. You do that for as many users as you have. Okay, I hope that is clear. So after you have done that repeatedly for, let's say, 50 users, okay, you head on to the machine, you head on to where it says reports, and then you say export user. After you export your user, you will notice that you have a table that looks like this one in front of you here. Okay, so this user is going to count and give you these statistics. Okay, so suppose you had 50 registered names into the system. Okay, all those names would have come down here, and number 1, 2, 3, 4 up to the very end, and this is the ID thereof. Now, all you have to do at this point is you now start mapping the names to the fingerprint IDs. So these IDs here represent the fingerprints that have been entered. So what you do is, number 1, you map the name here, or number 1. Number 2, number 3, up until you reach the end. By default, everyone will be in department number 1. Okay, so after you've done that, you save this document, you head on back to the machine, you press the menu button, you navigate to where it says reports. Under reports, you are going to see where it says upload user. Okay, in the first place, after everyone had registered, the procedure of retrieving that record into the flash drive was you go to the machine, you click on menu, you go where it says reports, and then you say export user. As you're exporting, you're going to get a number of IDs from number 1 up until the end. Now, after you have mapped on the names to their IDs and you saved this document, you go back to the machine and then you go to reports and you say import user. Okay, that's the first step now, meaning all 50 users are mapped correctly onto their names. Meaning, therefore, whenever user number 1 comes to scan their finger onto the machine, what will show up is their actual name. Okay, now after you have mapped on the name and the user, the second thing you're going to do is retrieve the shift and department information. Okay, now it is very important to set the shift and department information onto the machine because this is what determines how accurate records are going to be. Let me repeat that. It is very cardinal and important that you set the shift and department information. Reason being is this is what determines the quality of your report. Okay, enough on that. Now, you go to the menu, you go where it says navigate up to where it says shifts. When you get to shifts, you find where it says export shift and department. You export that, and this in front of you here is what you're actually going to see. Now, let me explain something here. This machine has simplified the process of allocating shifts to individuals. What I mean is this. Shifts are allocated to departments. What this means is, if you have a group of 10 out of 50 workers that are supposed to report in a particular shift, you add them to a particular department. So let's say department number 1 goes with shift number 1. And shift number 1 in this case is this one that starts from 8 hours, ends at 17. You're probably wondering why there are other entries in the middle. Okay, so this takes into consideration lunch breaks. Okay, so say your workers report at 8 in the morning, they go for lunch at 12, they come back in at 13, and they knock off around 17. Most people prefer only having the in and the out. However, if you prefer having these breaks, it is fine as well. If there is any other break, you can include it here, in and out. Okay, and then the other thing I'm going to talk about here are this other section at the very end. So this is allow late, allow early, rest, overtime, overtime, overtime. So allow late is a situation where you set the system to say if someone comes 15 minutes after 8, they won't be told that they are late. It won't be considered late. If someone clocks in, let's say you add 15 also here. Okay, so there's 15 here, there's 15 here. Okay, so meaning before 8, that's 15 minutes before 8. I suppose that's 7:45, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and then at 8:15 also. So meaning this time frame is set for people to clock in and clock out. If someone clocks in at 8:15, they are not late. They are within the stipulated time frame. Okay, someone clocks in earlier than that, still in the stipulated time frame. This is important in a case where you have a lot of workers rather. So imagine a situation where they are all lining up to scan their fingers for the system to recognize them. Now, let's say there are 50 there and they've all come on time at 8 hours. Okay, if the system is strictly set to 8, meaning once it's 8 hours, whoever scans after that is considered as late. When in the actual sense, they might have been at the premises, but because there's a queue as they are scanning their fingers. Hope you understand. Now, rest way is where you decide whether your workers are going to rest on Saturday and Sunday, that's double, or Saturday alone, or Sunday alone, or no rest at all. Okay, this allows you to set all these parameters. Mostly, we set it to double, but as per your needs, you would have to modify this. Overtime, do you want overtime? Yes or no? So if on, you set overtime start how many minutes after the reporting time. Overtime is only paid for how many minutes? Okay, do you only want to pay these people for 60 minutes overtime? Meaning you're paying them just for an hour overtime. Beyond that, it's not billable. Okay, however, you can also decide to turn off the overtime here. Okay, so these are general settings. Now we move to departments and shifts. So let's say here we have a night shift. Someone reports at 17 and then they are supposed to, okay, just a moment. So someone should report at 17 hours and then they should leave the premises at 04 in the morning. Okay, this is a shift. Okay, so now you notice that this shift is shift number 2. And now if you want this shift to take effect, you're going to have to allocate department number 2 to shift number 2. So if you have multiple shifts, all you have to do is make sure department number and shift number are uniform here, as I am doing it. Okay, so if you had so this system allows up to 10 shifts. Yes, up to 10 shifts. You would set that, and then department number 1 will be allocated to shift number 1. Now, if you remember, you were earlier on setting up the users, and all users were in shift number 1. Okay, so now you need to, after you set this, okay, you save it, you go back to the machine, navigate to the menu, go under shifts and say import shift and department. So once you feed this information to the system, now it knows the timings, what time someone's supposed to come, what time they're supposed to leave. Okay, after this has been done, you need to go back to the users records. Under users, you now need to make sure you allocate users as per department. Okay, so since we only have one user here, and if this user was supposed to report in the evening, that's shift number 2. We set it to shift number 2. You save this document, go back to the machine, upload it under users, meaning all the users that you have would have been allocated to their respective departments. Okay, now the good part of this procedure is that come weekend, when your workers need to switch shifts, okay, those that were in the day go in the night, those that were in the night go in the day, all that you would need to do now, okay, is you navigate to the machine, go to shift and department, and what you do here now is department number 1, let's say with 20 names that were working in the day shift, is now shifting to department number 2, to shift number 2, meaning therefore these people are no longer reporting at 8 and knocking off at 17, but they are reporting at 17 and knocking off at 4 in the morning. Okay, so if you are swapping shifts, always remember to swap both ways. Okay, so this is it about shifts. Once you do this, you upload this information back into the system and save it. This allows you to have a very good running system, meaning therefore your reporting system is going to be accurate and you'll be able to retrieve the required results.